Thank you, Your Excellency. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Your Excellency, the First Lady, Your Excellency, the Deputy President, Your Excellency, the Governor of Bungoma. Allow me, Your Excellency, because of time, to ride on the protocols that are already established and take this opportunity to thank you most sincerely for welcoming and hosting us here on this 98th Music Festival. We don't take it for granted, especially because we know how busy your schedule is. Having said that, Your Excellency, allow me to introduce the government executive officers and officials who are here briefly. I'll just call their names, they'll stand and be seen by the team that is here. The first one is the PS John Olotua, PS Basic Education, Ministry of Education. PS Harry Kimtai, Mining. PS Susan Mangeli, MCME. Thank you. PS Karen Agengo, Children's Services. PS Dr. Jane Imbuga, Public Services. And PS Mukwana of Industry. Also accompanying us, Your Excellency, are my cabinet colleagues, led by CS Oparanya, Cooperatives, CS James of Wandai, Energy, and Deborah Barasa of Environment. Your Excellency, this particular festival has had participants totaling 143,000, rising out of 140 that we had last year, including teams from our neighboring country, Uganda. Your Excellency, you will agree with us that the participation and the performance here today was top class. It was top class because of the contribution of the reforms that we are undertaking in the education sector and our competency-based education, which has sports and arts as an independent pathway, therefore ensuring that that particular pathway is part and parcel of our education mainstream system. We thank you for these reforms because when you came in, you formed the Presidential Working Party that came up with programs or with suggestions on now we need to align our education system to be ready and available and to be able to compete in the global world in terms of talent and skills. Further, Your Excellency, you've increased funding in this particular sector, rising from 502 billion in 2022 to the current 784.5 billion, a massive increase. Your Excellency, you've not stopped at that. You have proceeded to guide us to introduce the legal statutes and the legal proposal bills that we require to ensure that our CBE is anchored in our law so that going forward it is part and parcel of our education system to avoid situations where it can be written off or can be dealt with negatively by those who may not have understood the basis under which it came into being. Your Excellency, out of this, quite recently, we've submitted a number of bills to Parliament to ensure that we have this particular system anchored in law. In that space, we have a bill that is pending now in Parliament that is going to be discussed, and I'm happy with the members of Parliament because it was read this last Tuesday. The Tertiary Education Placement and Funding Bill. This is a bill that is very unique and that will revolutionize the higher education sector. And this is a bill that you yourself championed because you asked yourself when you came into power that most of our universities were in debt because the system that we were using for funding was not fit for purpose. We introduced another system that was student-centered, but there was a particular challenge to it, that we were funding parents instead of funding students. In other words, we were asking ourselves, does this parent have the capacity to fund the student? Instead of asking ourselves, does this student or this career that we are funding become possible for this particular funding to be given to them in order for them in the future to be able to pay back? Having moved that philosophical needle, Your Excellency, from us Instead of funding parents, we are funding students. It became possible for this particular funding model to become an investment and bankable. Out of that, it is now possible for us to get the resources from our education stakeholders to ensure that each and every student who joins our tertiary institutions has capacity or is able to undertake the course for which they've gotten, notwithstanding the background where they come from. So the funding in the tertiary sector, once this bill becomes law, is going to support all the students who are admitted to our tertiary institutions, from universities to TVETs to KMTC to TTCs. So we thank you, and we thank you once again for that leadership. Your Excellency, the issues relating to harmony between the employees in this sector and the students, and to ensure that we do not have disruptions in the education sector, you gave us a duty to ensure that we have created a system where we'll be able to pay off all the outstanding CBA arrears for our teachers, for our university lecturers, and for our workers in the universities. That is KUSU, UASU, KUDEA, NAT, KUPET. I'm happy to report, Your Excellency, that out of the arrears that existed between the financial year 2017-2021, that CBA for that period, and 2021-2025, a total of 6.8 billion, that CBA arrears has been released to the universities as of yesterday. This ensures that we have harmony in the sector so that our students remain in school, our learners remain in school, our lecturers remain in class, our teachers remain in class. So we thank you for that provision. Additionally, Your Excellency, you gave us instructions to ensure that capitation to our schools reaches our schools before the schools open. Starting this year, 2026, we have, in the first term, released those resources before the schools opened. Second term, we have done the same. And this third term, the funds have arrived and they are being released to the schools to ensure that when students report on the 24th of this month, the resources are in place. All that taken in totality is what is helping us to ensure that all our students are able to do what they are able to do best, so that they are not disrupted in their education. And this is because of your visionary leadership. This vision is led by thinking, Your Excellency. And this is the thinking that you have introduced, the platform for us to have a conversation for the 2060 vision. Without that vision, we would be fumbling in the dark. And Your Excellency, I want to say this. There are people who don't understand that we need to have that discussion. There are people who think that the students from vulnerable families must remain behind, must not study the courses that they require. There are people in this country who think that we must continue living with our animals in our rooms. There are people in this country who think that we cannot have universal health for everybody. The privileged think that other people should not be having what they have. There are people who think that infrastructure in this country belongs to certain people. I want to ask Kenyans that we should not board that kind of thinking. We must board the thinking of us being able to move to the first world led by His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya. And for your information, ladies and gentlemen, Singapore is a symbol of the first world. Kenya is not moving to Singapore. There are other people who think that we want to move to Singapore as a country. It is a symbol of what the first world is. With those remarks, Your Excellency, allow me to invite the Deputy President to make his remarks and invite you. Thank you so much, na Mungu awabariki.